Okay, here's a video on the prime factorization. So, what is a prime number? That's the first thing we should know. So remember when we did factors of numbers, right? For example, let's say we did 10, and we got the factors of 10. And we know that 1 and 10 is a factor. We know that 2 and 5 are factors. So these are the factors of 10. Now, a prime number means that there's only two factors, 1 and itself. That's a prime number. So 10 is not prime, 10 is composite. 10 is a composite number. Okay, let's do another example of prime. Let's say a 7. So we know 7's prime because the only factors of 7 is 1 and 7. That's it. That's why 7 is prime. Okay, so prime factorization we're going to use with factor trees. We'll start with 12. So instead of making a box, we'll just list all the numbers we can to make 12, and at the end we'll get all prime numbers. You can start with any two numbers you think make 12. For example, I can do 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. And the only prime number so far is 3, so we'll circle the prime number. But 4 is not prime. So we'll keep going until we get all prime. So with 4, you can do 2 times 2. And I'll circle when they're prime. So 2 times 2 times 3 is the prime factorization of 12. Let's do another example here. Let's say, put a line here, bring that over. Let's say 15. Well, 15 I can do 3 times 5, and they're all prime. So that's the prime factorization of 15. And what we were doing is making a factor tree. You're not listing every factor. You're just trying to get all the primes. So with 20, you can do 5 times 4, 10 times 2. Don't do 20 times 1. Don't do the same number, because then you're just adding extra work for yourself. But whatever one you want to start with, 10 times 2, let's say. You could have done 5 times 4. Now, which one's prime? The 2's prime, but the 10 is not. So we have to break down the 10. So what do we have for 10? Well, we can do 5 times 2. Circle when you have the primes. So the prime factorization of 20 will be 5 times 2 times 2. That's the prime factorization of 20. And we're making factor trees. Okay, see if you can do one yourself. Find the prime factorization of 100, making a factor tree. Pause the tape. Okay, now remember, you can start with any two numbers that make 100. You can do 50 times 2 or 10 times 10, whatever you think is easier. So I'll do 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100. They're not prime numbers. So we keep going. We're going to break the 10 down. 5 times 2. So 5 times 2, those are two prime numbers. And don't forget this 10 here. That's a 5 times 2 also. So now we have the prime factorization. It's 5 times 5 times 2 times 2. Doesn't matter the order you put them in. Remember the commutative property. So 5 times 5 times 2 times 2 is 100. So this is the prime factorization of 100. Okay, so that's prime factorization. Remember, you're just breaking down the number in factor trees until you get all the prime numbers. And we'll use the prime factorization when we use the tree method in the GCF. Great job.